Cool. All right. I think we can start the webinar. We are recording. Everything is on. Perfect. We had a couple of people that reached out that they couldn't join, so they were wishing for us to send the recording as well. But we're here. We're here together with Fluxspace, who are the ones that are going to present what amazing facilities that they do have, and our partnerships together with Strawbees and Fluxspace. And we actually visited Fluxspace just 1 month ago, something like that. It was absolutely an experience. I will not go into depth about that because I want you guys to talk more about it.
Sure.
Yeah, if you guys would like to start introducing yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Ryan Anthony, one of the co-founders, director of innovation at Fluxspace. I'm a former 8th grade science teacher. Got really excited about ed tech and STEM movements and what STEM education could mean for students, abilities to kind of be hands-on with stuff. But we kind of saw the need to help schools understand what products and programs, what learning experiences students could have or should have. So we kind of set up this really cool physical space incubator, which has been a lot of fun. So excited to spend some time here with you guys. I'll let Simona introduce herself.
Yeah, my name is Simona. I am the makerspace specialist on the Fluxspace team. My background is in product design. I was previously running makerspaces, teaching rapid prototyping, teaching design thinking. So I was able to bring a lot of those skills to the Fluxspace team. And we have been having a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Andreas. I've been working at Strawbees for 4 years now. I forgot to update my slide. It still says like 2 years somewhere in that slide. But I've been here now for 4 years, and it has been an absolute journey. We, why I even started at Strawbees was a friend of mine who was one of the first guys who started Strawbees. Back at that time, the maker culture was kind of just getting started in the US in a way. And now it's absolutely, exploding all over the places, it feels like. And I'm just happy to be part of, a company that is giving this creativity into the students, into the school environment as well. So I'm very pleased with my position at Strawbees, very happy about it. But I can start with just, I guess that a lot of you already know what Strawbees is, but I can do a small introduction. Strawbees is this hands-on equipment that you're using in the school, where students are building with pipes and connectors, and they can build stuff like this, like a bridge. They can be creative and start building more advanced stuff by themselves. So if you can see what it is, this is a turtle, more or less. And obviously they will start out with something more simpler, like building geometric shapes. So all of this is being made with these pipes and the connectors. And the connectors, they come in 4 different lengths or 4 different sizes, let's say. So you have a bunch of different ones, like a 1-leg connector, you have 3-leg connector, and so forth. And then you have the pipes that comes in 5 different lengths. When we actually started out with Strawbees, you needed to cut the pipes by yourself in different lengths. However, because of the time constraints that's happening inside of the class, so we wanted to really fast forward a little bit with that creativity part and also the cleanup part for the students when being used in a classroom of 30 students, so to say. And what we have done recently, or like 2 years ago, we introduced Strawbees together with microbit. And I will actually let Fluxspace later, or when you want to show it, some stuff that you can do with microbit and Strawbees.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And if you guys are want to present what Fluxspace is doing.
Yeah, definitely. So where we live in the space, we help schools, organizations navigate things like STEM education, STEAM education programs. So what we created was a resource movement, kind of an area for teachers to connect, for people to understand what the future of learning could look like. So what we want to do is we want to help consult, hey, here are the programs, experiences, or solutions that exist and how they can match with a really great learning experience for students. So a couple of things are, how do you create a makerspace? Well, what goes into it? What does it look like? More importantly, like, what is the learning experience for students? So that's where for us, finding Strawbees and understanding the idea of prototyping and tinkering and being able to recreate things pretty easily was really awesome. And it fits a lot of things that we do, or our mindset is, STEM doesn't have to be this thing in a box where everybody makes the same solar car, everybody makes the same thing, but what tools and resources are out there that's going to allow kids to create and make, which is pretty exciting. So we're excited that Strawbees helps fits that niche, that need of being able to have how can we do some prototyping really quickly? And what we've been learning, Andres kind of mentioned it, is the idea to integrate things like the microbit. So the idea of being able to bring in computer science and codable electronics is pretty exciting. So now we can scale this up in a program. And again, just trying to direct and point educators, students to these solutions that bring a really cool learning experience. So we look for all sorts of things that kind of fit that need. What does indoor agriculture look like? What does digital fabrication look like? And what does tinkering, making, inventing look like? And we're excited about our partnership with Strawbees. So Simona can talk a little bit about some design thinking sessions she does with students. If you want to elaborate on that. Yeah.
We make sure to hold teachers' hands and educators' hands throughout the whole process. So as Ryan said, we start from an empty room or a room that is being used for another purpose. And how do we transform that into what your vision of a makerspace is? And then a big part of my job is to help with what's happening in that space. So how do you teach design engineering to kindergartners, to 12th graders? How do you get students thinking about that creative problem solving, that hands-on learning that is so valuable?
Yeah, and we do it all as a physical location experience. So our main headquarters is located in Norristown, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Philadelphia. And it serves as that incubator testing space for educators to come in where they can test, they can see things. I think we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but we are very excited to kind of announce or mention that we're a training partner with Strawbees. So part of us is, being a former educator, seeing products or things that's kind of dropped off, but I don't really know how to implement it. What ideas, what projects could I use with it? We want to make sure that, we're supporting that implementation and getting educators excited about what these solutions bring, and more importantly, what new cool learning experience you could bring to students. So we're excited to have Strawbees be somewhat headquartered here in our Norristown location and be able to bring in educators to come play, to come try things out, to come for formal trainings, formal onboarding, workshops, things like that. But also it's exciting, Simona and I having like educators stop in and want to say, hey, could you give me a refresher on how this works or how that works? Or, could we bounce around some ideas about how I could do this project? So our goal is to create a really cool ecosystem with local schools in the areas and partners. And it's been going really well.
Yeah.
Having fun. Yeah.
And you guys are doing amazing work. And that's why we, of course, want to be partnered with you. I have been in your facilities. It's really nice. Longing for when we get this up and running again, and then see what will come from it. But with the training, and why training is so important and why we are focused so much on training, is actually one of the reasons we are sitting here today, and that is because the implementations process of adding new equipment into the school environment. And the training is so important. It's very, very important when it comes to it. And for us being in Sweden, we can do it virtually, and that has been successful. But we also want, we like the idea when people can come and visit partners like you guys to host it more or less. And do you guys have any thoughts about why training is so important?
Yeah, I think for a while in our area, that was missing. So myself as a former educator, 8th grade science teacher, I was trying to develop a makerspace in a STEM lab, but I got really frustrated about, what does it look like? What should go in it? How do we kind of, what experiences could we bring out of it? And once I'd find something exciting, like I would need training, I would need support. If something goes wrong, how do I do it? So we want Fluxspace to be that hands-on lab where when you're making decisions on makerspaces of STEM equipment, or, hey, here's what we're doing already with students, what else could we do, or how can we really lean into this whole STEM education, which is really great. And state of Pennsylvania just put out some new science standards, which is great. So we know a lot of schools are navigating, how can I make this an opportunity to revamp what my teachers and students are doing? So again, I think having a physical building where people could come to, where they feel safe to try things out, to experiment, to play, even as educators, didn't really exist. So our big thing and our partnership with Corbett Inc. And Bill Corbett and the team here of having physical buildings where people could come in and play and experiment has been awesome. So it's been really great, working with that team and kind of setting up these opportunities for people to come in and just play and really see what's out there and experiment. So the more that you're hands-on with the equipment, it's just like teaching our students. The more engaged they are, the more hands-on they are, the better they understand, level of engagement goes up. So if we can make that a training area, for students as well, but also educators to come into that space and be supported is a big win. So we've been really busy. It's been great. We did a lot of tours. We offer tours for school districts. So if they want to come in, they can just reach out to us. They can see any of the, solutions that we have. They can come test out Strawbees. They could see Strawbees. They can also bring their students for a day, and we can kind of model lessons on how to use this. So again, just being that physical space that constantly supports schools in the area has been a true value to us, and something that we want to say, watch us keep doing.
And what would a training look like in your facilities?
Yeah, so first off, training would be, an overview of what this looks like. We have a lot of cool experiences that are set up. So a lot of times we like to go on tours and just kind of stretch the mind of the educators or people that are walking around to see it. We believe it's not so much about the technology or the product, but it's more about the learning experience that you're trying to create. And then what we do is from that learning experience, be able to drop in solutions like Strawbees to these educators. So we always want to make the case for, we're not necessarily just training on the tech. We want to train about the experience and bring in mindsets like design thinking and prototyping, which Simone is so great at, and kind of make a case for why this could be used or how it could be used. So training involves, doing some hands-on stuff, getting familiar with the tool. We also go through things, a huge, really valuable resource called Strawbees Classroom, which is great. Strawbees team did a great job putting that together. Basically a web portal of just numerous lessons, how to go through it. I think we might dive into a little bit later, but being able to go through that and see projects that you could take and gather, and you guys did a really good job developing those resources. So that's a crucial tool that we want to make sure educators totally understand before they leave. But yeah.
And no two trainings will be the same. We really want to work with you and your school to figure out, what do you need? Are you already fantastic at coding, and so you don't really need to go into that? Or are you really curious about how microbit works with Strawbees, in which case that's what we can focus on. We'll cater the training to you and what you're most excited about with the product.
Yeah, and I think the cool conversations we're having is a lot of teachers realize they're doing a lot of good stuff, and we want to celebrate things that they're doing. And when you're implementing things like Strawbees, it's not necessarily reinventing everything that you do. It's just finding cool ways to integrate this tool. We're big believers in STEM as a movement influencing all grades. So the idea about STEM and ELA and STEM and math and STEM in these non-STEM courses, how can we kind of have some STEM or STEAM sprinkles happen within content areas that don't normally have STEM? We talked about it this morning about how kids get excited about STEM elective and they don't want to miss STEM day, but then they get a little discouraged when other days of the week aren't STEM day. So in our mind is, how do we make every day feel like a STEM day? How do we get kids excited about going to school, excited about an activity, excited about an event? And what learning experiences are we influencing or help build? And again, that all can be done through some Strawbees trainings and not just mindset culture stuff, but also the ability to get familiar with these tools and how we can use it to really transform learning.
Nice words.
Yeah.
And so training is one thing that we are focusing on. And then it's also another thing is about simplicity. And simplicity, even if it sounds as it's simple, it is quite hard, to be honest. And we at Strawbees has been very, very, need to hold back, because we want to add more stuff into Strawbees, add more and more. But this starts to create more complexity and start to not help the students or the teachers.
Yeah,
we learned that the students are not the ones that are afraid of using Strawbees. They're digging into it and jumping in. but it is that simplicity for the teachers. Because when we're talking about implementation and how to get it into all of the schools, so curriculum line it, and so that all the schools can benefit from it, you know, you cannot only have that teacher that is a real ambassador and also, you know, enjoys and go home and watch the introduction video and stuff like that. You need to have a lot of teachers involved in that. For the training is important, and therefore the simplicity is important for those teachers as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. I think a lot of teachers that get intimidated by STEM or STEAM programs, I think they just need to be shown how easy it could be, or where some low-hanging fruit, or what's some easy entry points into this kind of idea of teaching or leaning into STEM education. And that's where we get excited about Strawbees, because like it's very easy to build. I don't need to jump in and do coding right away. I could, you know, grab it to prototype something or recreate something in a story. And even the deck of cards that you guys have, where it's all the imagination and creating things for challenges. We were doing working with a group today, and there was one about, you know, you lost your steering wheel in your car. How can you recreate a steering wheel? So it just kind of makes students use the product in different ways. But again, real easy entry points, but something that can scale all the way up to making this really cool codable train with a microbit. So yeah, I think simple is best. And the idea is, hey, this is what a STEM STEAM lesson can look like. This is, you know, you get excited about what that could be. How could we then scaffold and grow into something a little bit more in depth? And you made a really great point, Andreas, is like students want to just grab and make things. And I think sometimes as educators, we just need to present the opportunity for them to grab a hold of something and try something out. And it's where we shift from being teachers, more facilitators, and kind of being okay with taking that risk of trying something new.
Mm-hmm.
And it also builds that like problem solving and creative thinking, because if it starts out to be hard in the beginning, it's, you know, the lack of time in the classroom. It is something that is, you know, it is what we need to live with, but it's an issue in one way when it comes to maker spaces, into STEM and all of that. But just looking at something simple like this. This is a Fox, I think it'll be something like that. That is still being prototyped. But then you also have what's behind you, Ryan, and that is the big crane. And maybe you want to show that just to see like the easy entrance level with Strawbees, and then moving over to being much more advanced.
Yeah, so Simona's going to switch this on. John, I don't know if you can get a closer up with this. Oh, it is on? Cool. So this is one microbit that was coded to kind of control the crane. So I can kind of wear it as a glove, and then I can kind of control it up and down. So on this part, there's a microbit back here. So you make code, Microsoft make code. We can kind of code this to do things. So as we move our hand up, we can kind of go up and down. And then as we move left or right, we can actually get the crane to also move left or right, which is pretty cool. And I'm glad we're doing this shot because I did get new shoes. I wore them for a reason. No, but it's exciting to see like something as simple as the Fox that Andreas is talking about, but then something a little bit more complicated with the crane. Being able to follow this guide on Strawbees Classroom gives you an example of how you can build it. But now as a student, being able to code microbit sets an example of, hold on, I could make a lot of things. I could do, this kind of remote control coding that I can with the Microsoft Make Code. They have a cool project where you use earthquake shake table. And it's an example of how can I scale this for older grades, from middle school into high school. And it's a really cool way to kind of bring in some coding. And I think a little bit later on, we'll kind of go through Strawbees Classroom. But the exciting part is seeing like all the steps laid out. So you as an educator can copy and paste just instructions. You can assign it to students. And a student, all they need is a URL. They need a link. They don't need a login, which is great. It makes it really easy to access some of the lessons and content. But I can drop that in an LMS. I can put it in my Google Classroom, and a very vivid guide, step-by-step guide on how to build this, allows students to kind of take off and run with it, which is great. So again, applaud you guys on putting that together, which is exciting. I know they got a lot of positive feedback from teachers, and something that definitely helps support the implementation and ways to use it. So yeah, there's even little friend robot there in the top. John, I don't know if you can, I don't think we can zoom in that far, but he's got a microbit on his chest and you can control his arms. And, it could be a challenge of prototyping, making, robots do different things. Our mindset and what we do here is, and Simone and I kind of preach this, is being able to have students share their ideas off at the roughest and earliest stages. This idea of like rough prototyping, and things don't need to be this perfect polished product, but they just need some kind of artifact to help get their ideas across. And we want them to have the confidence to share ideas and kind of think big and dream big, where I think a lot of times in school, we kind of force something to look perfect or be perfect, or before you answer, think through your answer. But we're kind of the opposite. We want to hear those brain dumps and just kind of what's in the student's head, and just make sure that they're confident enough and keep sharing that out. And Strawbees, again, gives you a perfect opportunity because it allows you to use that imagination while at the same time picture something that could be a prototype that you could hold, that doesn't involve glue or tape and can be used over and over again, which is great. And we were talking about the other day, I think the STEAM school kit that we've had about 30 kids use that, and we still have the same one, which is pretty wild. So
yeah, we've probably had that for 3 years.
Yeah.
We use it for field trips almost every day.
Yep.
And some of the straws are a little bent, and sometimes the students accidentally cut them, but the straws have lasted 3 years, which is really remarkable for a educational product. It's really exciting to see that we keep reusing the same things over and over again for every student group.
Yeah, it's really great.
I think we actually received a question before in chat, or about if Strawbees is for one user or for a classroom, and it's for a classroom. So we are focusing really on, the kit, all the material they receive is for 30 students, and every student more or less is part of coding and building. Do you have the box there? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So this is the Strawbees STEAM school kit. Does this pretty cool thing. We're going to try this. This is going to be a little risky. Ready? Yeah. It's got this really cool cardboard shelves in here, which is pretty awesome. And the pieces are kind of set up in there.
Something's in there.
Yeah. Cool. We have them in bags, but the idea is, the connectors and everything that are in here, you can pull it out, which makes the cleanup really easy. And yeah, it kind of, you might say, well, can 30 kids build with this? We've had over 30 kind of make something. And one of the feedbacks that we get is the ability for kids to kind of make bigger things quicker. When you're using different things like Lego, it's kind of hard to make big things, but be able to kind of construct something fairly big and then break it down to be a little bit smaller is pretty awesome. So, yeah.
I can actually show you really quick just when you mentioned big, I think it's in our office here. If maybe it's too dark, but this is like pyramid. It's hanging from the roof.
We and Andreas, we still have our really big spiral tower that you, Rasmus, and I made. So if you guys want to see that, but it's cool because you find these patterns that you can repeat, and you can get some pretty big things. Get students engaged and excited about.
So we talked about the training, the importance of training, also the simplicity to get all the teachers and the students. And the last thing I think we can go through is the guidance. And we talked a little bit about it, but that is Strawbees classroom in a sense, because you need to have that as a teacher. You can be part of a training, you feel comfortable using it, but when it's being used inside of the classroom, you can always lean back to something, and that digital tool is very important, both for the teachers but also for the students to do self-guiding. The teacher can more or less facilitate in the classroom more easier. So maybe you, Simona, want to
we're gonna just do a quick screen share of what the Strawbees classroom looks like, which is really great. And to Andreas's point, the one thing that we got excited about, let's see if you guys can see it.
Yes.
All right. Is, the ability to kind of pull up, there's different channels, libraries, but if you go back, like there's lessons, there's activities, there's courses. So if I want something that's just a quick, maybe 10, 15 minute, 20 minute, I can grab an activity. If I want something that's a little bit longer, that's going to take a whole day, I can look at lessons, or you can go through an actual whole course, which is a multitude of lessons and activities. And again, you guys did a really good job. Like Simona, if you click in lessons, you can search by grade level and by content, which is really great. One of the things that we looked at today was the trebuchet throw. Am I saying that word right? Yeah. Trebuchet. Practice that. The trebuchet throw is, the ability to make something. So it kind of shows the video. This is the teacher version of it, where you can see the materials that you would need, walks you through how do you facilitate it, how do you go through, what does the preparation look like, what warm-up could you give, which is really great. And then if Simona goes to the bottom left, there's a button called Assign to Students. So she can click Assign to Students. That would generate either a Google Classroom interaction or link or a copy link. And if she were to copy that link and get the link out to her students, they could just access that and be able to follow it step-by-step instructions, which is really cool. So if you go down to the build, kind of shows you what they're going to make and then the pieces that are required. And I think the feedback that we really get is how easy it is. You can look at the images there, go through step-by-step as you complete it and really build along the way, which is really exciting. So again, being able to get this in the hands of a student, you're more a facilitator. You can let them go at their own pace. You can assign a couple activities to different students, which is great. The cool part about it too is once they learn how the systems connect, how connectors go together, there's a lot of great lessons about open-ended type things, make your own wind-powered, what's a wind power? Turbine. There we go. Blank there. But the ability just to see some of these things and be able to put something together is really great. So, and then you can kind of filter by kit that you have. You can look for things that involve the robotics kit with the microbit. It even goes into the Microsoft Make code. So if kids don't even know how to code, they can kind of copy that in there. So for us, this has been a game changer in terms of getting ideas out there to educators on how to use the tool and being able to support it.
Yeah, I think we actually had a question in the chat before if you get some instructions for the microbit part as well, the coding part, and yes, you do. So in the step-by-step guides, you also get snippet of code on how to code it, so you can, so you as a teacher can rely on that as well.
Yeah, we did the solar energy one. We don't have that one, but that one's pretty cool. The idea is that it can adjust the sunlight, which is cool. So a lot of sustainability standards in there about demonstrating, renewable energies like solar. So if you go through, eventually it gets to, hey, take your microbit and plug it into this. And the great part about it is microbit by itself is a really great tool, and that can be used in a bunch of different things. So it's really cool to see you guys build, a set. Actually, the box. Can I see the box real quick? So what it is it's a robotic inventions. So part of it is it's kind of a hat or where you can plug in the microbit, and they do a good job of, you don't have to do any wire connecting other than just plug in the microbit and it will power it and line up pretty well, which is great. So again, it kind of just keeps facilitating that making and tinkering and bringing in a little bit of computer science.
I also love that all of the Strawbees classroom lessons are standard aligned. So you really know how you can bring Strawbees into your curriculum, maybe replacing a lesson that isn't as exciting and making it more hands-on. I also love, this is just on my screen by coincidence, that a lot of lessons require cardboard or other recyclable materials. So it's really going beyond the straws and beyond the microbits as well, in terms of building bigger, cooler things as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I think the time is starting to, or the clock is starting to be, it's actually 9:30 p.m. in Sweden. So I'm very,
almost bedtime.
Almost bedtime. Yeah, I go straight from the office into the bed. We're used to it here in Strawbees. But I will just say thank you so much for doing this together with us. And so everyone know, if you're interested to get implementing Strawbees into your school districts, go to Fluxspace. They will help you with the training and all of it. And make sure to go to Strawbees classroom as well to check it out, what you can find in there.
Yeah. And our URL, our website is www.fluxspace.io. So you can check out, what's going on, which is great. And, reach out, even if you're not local, we could help answer questions or walk you through some things. We're hoping to build out the studio a little bit more, which will be exciting. So, maybe we'll do some more live things from here, or even some of the trainings could be happening here too, virtually, if you guys can't make it. But we always welcome people to come down and tour. We make it worth your time to come out and hang out. So if you ever want to see Fluxspace, or you got questions, or you have trying to navigate STEM STEAM, you want to come try out Strawbees, you are always more than welcome to come hang out. You can reach out to us through social media, through our website, schedule time to stop by and play.
Yeah. And we look forward to seeing you here.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Go there.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for this.
Yep. We'll see you.
See you guys.
Yep. Talk soon.
Talk soon. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.